Hello friends of the internet. After many years of training with various different coaches and competing, I want to share my full warm-up with all the moves that I've acquired throughout the years that help me the most before I step onto ice every morning. So let's start, and I'll shut up because if you're anything like me, you're probably running late to the rink and need to warm up as fast as possible. Let's start off with a light cardio warm-up to get the body warmed up and moving before any dynamic stretching. Lightly jog forwards and backwards, looking behind your shoulders when you jog backwards to simulate always looking behind you when you skate backwards on the ice. Let's transition to high knees. I like to put my arms out in front of me to ensure that when I hike my knees up, they touch my arms. Next is butt kickers. Focus on making sure you actually feel like you're kicking your own butt, as weird as that sounds. Side shuffle swing. Swing your arms close to your body, but make sure they are relaxed. This is critical for the axle or the waltz jump. I too struggle with this, but jumping should primarily come from the legs and not tension in the upper body. So this helps me relax my upper body while simulating the axle takeoff. Next is grapevines. Cross your legs back and forth as you move laterally. This is super helpful to warm up your hip agility and all the twisting and checking involved in skating while maintaining a strong core. Moving into dynamic stretching, let's warm up our hips first. In the lunge twist, focus on sinking down to a 90-degree angle so you can feel your hip flexors stretching. You should feel a pull at the top of your quads almost, and then twist side to side. Next is side to side lunges to warm up the inner thigh muscles. Open your hips as closely to a second position in ballet as possible. To get a deeper stretch, you can push your elbows against your inner thighs, and you can also shift your weight from side to side. Next is hip turn in and outs. This is one of my favorites. Swing your hips open and back. I hate this expression, but like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, and then you swing back in front and cross in an H position. This one is so helpful for hip mobility because so much of skating is hip turn out, such as with a layback spin, and hip turn in when you're holding onto an air position when you're jumping. Let's repeat on the other side. Bonus points if you can work on pointing your toes throughout this whole exercise. After all, figure skating is all about doing hard crap while still looking pretty. Next, let's do side-to-side leg swings. Focus on keeping the core tight and stable, and the only change in movement should be coming from your lower body. Bonus points again if you can point your toes. This can really help improve your extension and toe point on the ice. Now same thing, except swing your legs front and back instead of side to side. Again, focus on keeping the core tight, knees locked and straight, toes pointed. Repeat both variations on the other side. Now let's warm up our hamstrings, starting with cherry pickers. I feel like this was elementary school PE staple, but for a good reason. By reaching side to side, we get all the areas of our hamstrings instead of just the middle portion. You don't have to touch your toes if you can't, just reach as far down as possible. Let's move into a forward bend with the arms behind and back for a nice shoulder and hamstring stretch. You can pulse the arms up and press your stomach down to your thighs. Your hamstring stretch is most effective if you make sure that your knees are locked and that when you bend, you press your stomach down to your thighs instead of hunching your back to bend over. Next are illusions. I would recommend the beginner variation here if your hamstrings are not super flexible yet to make sure you don't get hurt. This is essentially the same as an illusion spin entry, so it's a great exercise for that. Touch your right hand to your left toes and focus on hinging at the hips, pressing your stomach down to your thighs, and kicking your legs up as high as possible. For the beginner variation, same concept, except you aren't kicking your leg back, you're just focused on the forward hinging motion and trying to touch your left arm to your right toes. Moving on to our back, let's start with a nice side reach to open up. This should feel really nice, especially in the morning. Focus here is to make sure you don't drop your shoulders forward, but rather continue to reach to the side, up and over. Then next, slight shift for this stretch. Simply stay where you are and now turn your torso to face the side and reach forward. I find that holding my arms together like so helps me get more leverage for a deeper stretch. Repeat both on the other side. Also, since we're almost halfway through, a quick reminder to subscribe and like this video if you feel like this routine has helped you out. It will take you less than 1 second and I will love you forever, personally. This next one is super helpful for getting a good lay back and lay side spin. Stand with your feet together and start by pushing your hips forward. Notice how I'm actually not moving my shoulders or throwing my neck and head back. Once you're there, pretend you're holding a big beach ball in front of you and start rotating to the side, to the back, and then to the other side, and then back up. Alternate in the other direction. It's a common misconception that I also struggle with is that your layback spin comes from pushing your hips forward instead of leaning back with your neck, head, and shoulders. Let's move on to our ankles and calves. First, simply flex and point your ankles. Feel free to hold onto a wall for balance if needed. Then, flex your ankles from side to side. I would be a millionaire every time I heard a skating coach say, bend your ankles more. Your ankles are critical in skating, and one of my good friends even joked about this, about how he thinks his ankles are actually the strongest part of his body as a skater. Then let's do ankle circles. Place your toe in the ground and draw circles with your ankles. Make sure you go both clockwise and counterclockwise. Switch sides. I cannot emphasize enough warming up your ankles before you jump off ice or on ice to prevent injuries. This next one is such an underrated exercise. Stick one foot out and bend over and swing your arms. This stretch gets the entire backside of your leg from your hamstrings to the muscle behind your kneecaps to your calves and ankles, and also gets your lower back. This is a great one if you plan on doing sit spins or sit spin variations on the ice. Next is just your classic calf stretch. Put one foot behind the other and push against a wall for leverage to really feel the stretch in your back leg. Focus on making sure the heel of your back leg does not lift off the floor. Repeat on the other side. Now hold that same position, just pedal it out. Moving on to arms and shoulder, we're going to start with another grade school PE classic, the deltoid stretch. Arm across and use your other arm to pull in for a nice stretch. Repeat on the other side. Next, let's do our triceps and shoulders. Reach your right arm back and use your left arm to gently pull down against the right. Advanced variation here, try to reach back with your other arm and grab your fingers together. All good if you can't get this right away. It took me a while to get it on both sides. Finally, let's get into some off-ice jumps. Starting with leap jumps, push up into the air and hike your right knee up while you kick out back with your left leg. For beginners, if this feels too difficult, a good variation is to just do skip jumps. Next is heel clicks. The goal is to jump up and click your heels together twice before you land while rotating a quarter rotation. Beginner variation, you can just do a single heel click, or you can try the double heel click without the quarter rotation and just staying in place. These smaller muscles are not used to firing this fast, but in skating it's critical to be able to rotate into position quickly. Next is our rotational exercises. Beginner variation, rotate quarter rotations. If you are a righty, make sure your left arm is in front at 1 o'clock and your right arm is to the side at about 4 o'clock. For just practice, you can also rotate in the other direction, even though on the ice, you probably won't be doing that. In that case, the arms are opposite. Once comfortable with quarter rotations, you can also work on half rotations. For the baseline level, same deal. If you are a righty, left arm in front, right arm to the side, pull into a rotation in a crossed H position and land on your right foot in a landing position. If you still can't get the crossed H position quite yet, you can try one rotation without crossing your legs and just landing on both feet. Advanced variation, you can also do this with your arms above your head. In addition, I'm doing about 1 to 1.5 rotations here, but if you want to do 2, 3, or even 4, if you can, go crazy. Last minute of warm-up is free jumping. Use this time to warm up any of your jumps off ice that you would like to work on. Personally, for me, I've been working on my off-ice axle, so this is what I'm showing here. I like to go into it with a simulated 3-turn entry, so I would hop a couple of times on my right leg, hop to the left, hop back to my right leg, and step forward into my axle. Key here is to make sure you relax your arms and upper body and make sure you keep your right hip back in the takeoff. This is something that I also could still be doing better. If you are a beginner, doing a waltz jump from that same entry can be a good starting point exercise. Cannot stress the importance of warming up off ice before you go on the ice to prevent injuries. I can relate all too well of having to pry open my eyes at the crack of dawn to make it to skating on time. I literally wake up so early that I'm homies with all the construction workers in New York City that also wake up at 4 a.m. Sometimes you're running a little late, ice time is expensive, so you barely warm up and just start lacing up your skates. However, in skating, we do way too many risky things and contort our bodies in way too many weird positions for us to not warm up properly. Hopefully, this short and sweet 10-minute total body off-ice warm-up video can help you stay disciplined and remember to warm up off ice before every time you practice and especially before you compete. If you want to download a free copy of the moves I mentioned in this video with more pointers and guidance and also beginner variations, please refer to the link in the description down below where you can access and download it for free if you want to get a copy to pin to your bedroom walls or download a copy to shove in your skating backpack. If you were to be so kind to hit that subscribe button down below, I would love you 3,000. Not that you would care about that or anything like that, but like and comment below anyways, because your next idea may just be the next video that I make. Shout out to subscriber Ashley who commented on one of my previous videos about asking for this exact video that you're watching right now. All right, till next time, I'll see you guys later. And don't forget to do your off-ice warm-up. I'm watching you.
For your honey, sickly sweet, keeps me